Hi everyone, I'm Lynn. So I originally began creating this video outside on camera, but it continued to rain, which escalated into heavy rainfall. I reside in Central Texas, specifically the Texas Hill Country, and we are kind of in a shelter in place, but not an evacuation as we live at a higher elevation. I decided to continue to make this video to take my mind off of what's going on here and while the power is still on, as I continue to pray for families that have lost loved ones and hope that more people are found safe and sound. My property is a mess right now. The sheer amount of rain was so hard on the plants, so I'll be showing recent images of the plants that I'm going to talk about in this video. So today we're diving into a fantastic option that will help make your summer gardening easier. In this video, we are showcasing 5 gorgeous low-maintenance plants that thrive without the need for drip irrigation, even in the scorching summer heat. That's right. These beauties are true low-water, drought-tolerant stars. But before we start, here are a couple of important things to keep in mind. If you're gardening in a highly arid desert climate, receiving only about 4 to 10 inches of rainfall a year, it's essential to provide some irrigation because these plants will need it just to survive. Also, during their first summer, these plants may require a weekly check to see if they need some water if you're not getting at least an inch of rain per week. However, if you're lucky enough to live in areas with adequate rainfall, you might find that these plants only need a good initial watering and then they'll be good to go. Plus, if your summers are mild, now could be the perfect time to plant these gorgeous varieties, or you can add these options to your late summer fall planting list. So let's get started. Okay, so the first plant on my list is this Vitex tree. This is a summertime blues Vitex tree. It is for zones 5 through 9, so most people can grow this unless they're on the edges of the USDA hardiness zones. Now, I know it's invasive in some areas. It's not invasive everywhere, but if it is an invasive, they do make non-invasive, so sterile varieties, and this is such a plant. This is a sterile variety. It has these gorgeous lavender blue flowers that start appearing in late May to June, late May, mid-June. And you see the gorgeous bluish green, grayish green leaves, no pests, no diseases to speak of, and it is truly drought tolerant. So why this is on the list? I planted my first summertime blues Vitex in mid-June of 2023. The following month, we went into severe drought. Now, point of reference, we get 36 to 40 inches of rain here in Central Texas. That is annually. And that rain occurs in the spring and in the fall. The summer months, for all intents and purposes, we're in a drought. And so there was very, very little rainfall. I mean, like close to nothing. And we couldn't do any outside watering at all. And that was 2 weeks after I put this plant in the ground. It did not miss a beat. It had no disease. The leaves weren't drooping. It even flowered. We kept walking out saying, you're like looking for it to die, thinking we're going to have to save like water from showers or something like that to water it. No, none of that. It didn't miss a beat. I grow multiples of this plant. And the one that I'm speaking of, it's no longer in that location because it became too large. Now, this is supposed to become about 10 feet in height, 5 to 6 feet in width. It is probably about 16 feet in width. And I would guess it's about 9 feet in height, at least 8 to 9 feet in height at this point. Be careful. Many of the descriptions, and I just checked yesterday, still has this at 10 feet in height and 6 feet in width. And as you can see, that is not the case. But this one is on drip irrigation. This is a 3rd-year plant. It's about 6 to 7 feet tall, and it's probably somewhere around 6 feet in width right now. The difference between this one and the one I just showed you, so this one right here, this one's on irrigation. That one, because it was surviving the year that I planted with no irrigation, when I added it to that corner, I didn't put it on irrigation because I wanted to see how it was going to perform. it's doing just fine. However, it is staying true to that size here by my not giving it any irrigation other than what's provided by nature. So that is one thing that I think I'm learning. I'm still testing it, but on irrigation it becomes a behemoth. Not on irrigation, it stays true to those sizes that I mentioned, about 10 feet in height. That probably will become, and 6 feet in width. Now, these aren't the only Vitex. There's a Busy Bee Vitex that it'll become about 8 feet in height or so, and about 6 feet in width. And my experience with that is it stays pretty true to that size. And the nice thing about it, it is a low seed variety. So it's not sterile like this one, but it's a low seed variety. The flowers are very different though. This is pretty lavender blue flowers. That one has kind of a dark blue, and they're smaller, and I'll show those flowers to you. But this one stays truer in size as compared to like this one. And I've tested it on irrigation and without irrigation. And again, the first one of those that I put in the ground, it was the same year that we had the drought restrictions. So in 2023, it didn't get watered either, and it didn't miss a beat. So that is a Busy Bee Vitex. This is a Summertime Blues. So Summertime Blues is sterile, larger than the Busy Bee. The Busy Bee, I think, also is zones 5 to 10, but that one is very drought tolerant as well. Like I said, if you get rainfall throughout the year, you probably will just water these plants in when you plant them, and you're done with it after that. Now, I grow 5 different varieties of this summertime, or of the Vitex tree. So 5 different varieties of the Vitex tree, and I must say that this one's my favorite, and it has an added bonus, sterile. So that invasive issue, if it becomes restricted here in Central Texas, I don't have to worry about these plants because they're sterile. Summertime Blues, it doesn't flower like this one, but I like it. If you have no restrictions at all, Shoal Creek, that is one of the larger ones. It forms a small tree versus these. Can be a really small tree or a larger bush, but it becomes about 15 feet in height in warm climates and about 10 feet in width. I also have those Rock Steady Vitex. Those are very nice. At one point, so the 5th one for this garden, I just removed actually a Delta Blues Vitex. This one has to be in full sun, even here in Central Texas. But it didn't flower as nicely as compared to the other ones, and maybe it was my climate or the location, but those are all great Vitex options. This is my #1 most drought tolerant plant. So whether you're looking for a small tree, whether you're looking for a large shrub, I think I even saw recently that there's a smaller shrub. I think Wilson Brothers has a small Vitex tree that's only supposed to become 5 to 6 feet in height or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But I did see a different variety that's supposed to be smaller than usual. So item #1, Vitex tree. Next is Russian sage. Now, Russian sage is a popular perennial plant known for its striking silvery foliage and beautiful lavender blue flowers. It is a fantastic choice for gardeners looking to add color and texture to their landscape, especially in areas where you may have challenging growing conditions. It is for U.S. hardiness zones 4 through 9, which means it can withstand a range of temperatures, so from cold winters to warm summers, which makes it versatile for a variety of climates. Now, one of the standout features of Russian sage is its exceptional drought tolerance. Once established, this plant can thrive in dry conditions, making it perfect for xeriscaping or those just wanting to reduce the water use. Russian sage has deep roots that allows it to access moisture from deep soil layers, which helps it to survive extended periods without any rainfall. This resilience will make Russian sage a great choice for gardeners in arid regions or those, like I said, just looking to reduce water usage in their gardens. Now, while it is drought tolerant, you may need to go out and check it during its establishment phase just to make sure it's not completely dried out. However, once it's established, you can reduce watering significantly. Although I planted mine in the spring, which is a time where we get enough rainfall, and I never put it on any type of drip irrigation. It's going into year 2. It's still not on any drip irrigation, and it is absolutely thriving. Sprinter boxwood is my most heat and drought tolerant boxwood. Now, there is one caveat with this one you'll want to do, and that is during its first summer, you're going to want to check it weekly just to make sure it doesn't dry out. Watered it weekly. I watered it with a hose, set the nozzle to center, and counted to 15 for each plant. And I did that throughout the first summer unless we received rainfall. Now, these plants have never been on drip irrigation, and even though there's lawn there, the sprinkler heads are in front of the edging for these boxwoods, pointing away from them. So they do not receive any water. And if there's any overspray, it's not going to be enough to make a difference. I grow these plants in multiple locations, and I have noticed that those growing in full sun with irrigation, they grow at a really pretty rapid rate for boxwood. However, these over here that aren't on irrigation, they're growing a little slower, but they are growing and they are completely healthy. The sprinter boxwood is not impacted by spider mites like my D-Runk and my Japanese boxwood. So it's been a very low water use, healthy item. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that my sprinter boxwoods, I have varieties that are growing in full sun, and they just don't miss a beat. Next is rosemary, but I specifically grow Chef's Choice rosemary here in the South. Now, that one is a culinary herb. It's known for its aromatic leaves and versatility in cooking. Now, rosemary, including this variety, are quite drought tolerant once established. It has these needle-like leaves that store oils, which helps to reduce water loss, making it suitable for dry gardens. It does prefer well-drained soil and can suffer if overwatered or planted in heavy, wet soils. Now, Chef's Choice rosemary is hardy in USDA plant hardiness zone 6 to 7, all the way up to 10. It's going to prefer full sun and well-drained sandy or loamy soil. That's the preference. However, I have it growing in clay soil and I just plant it high. Sedum, commonly known as stonecrop, is part of a diverse genus of succulent plants that are popular in gardens for their hardiness, low maintenance, and drought tolerant. Now, with the variety of species and cultivars available, sedums can be found in various shapes, sizes, and colors, which is going to make them versatile for many garden designs. You will find sedum to be exceptionally drought tolerant due to its succulent leaves, which store water. Now, this characteristic allows sedums to thrive in dry conditions and makes them ideal for xeriscaping and rock gardens. And once established, many sedum varieties can survive long periods without water, making them perfect for gardeners looking to conserve water or for those gardening in arid climates. This plant is hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9, depending on the specific species, of course. And they're going to prefer full sun, well-drained soil, and they can thrive in poor rocky soils as well. If you don't receive enough rain or need to water sedum, do so sparingly. Allow the soil to dry out completely between waterings because overwatering can definitely lead to root rot. My sedum is not on any irrigation. However, this one probably does get a little overspray from the sprinklers in the area. Point of reference, I water my lawn only throughout the summer, and at that time, once a week. It gets watered once a week, so it's going to get a little overspray once a week. All 5 of these plants are excellent choices for gardeners looking for truly drought-tolerant plants. If you enjoy or find this content beneficial, please consider clicking like, subscribe, and notifications. I've been gardening for about 20 years at this point, and there's so much that I'd like to show and share with you all. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day in your garden. Bye.